have Kristen reach out to Mrs. Santa Claus.
Hi, good morning.
See what they can do.
Today is December 12th, 2019. It's a little after 10, 5 after 10. We're beginning our morning work session. If we could stand for the pledge. Tim, you'd like to lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Jim is here. He will be back in a minute. Jody's here. She should be joining us in a few minutes. We're going to start today's work session with CMA Mine, Inc., New York State DEC, SECRA referral, and their application. So we'll have Mr. Murphy come up and join us.
Good morning.
You can sit next to me, I'm not contagious.
Why, are you sick?
I was during,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. See me, yep. Hi, good morning.
All right, so
When you go to that workshop we had?
I don't do workshops.
Thank you.
What are we talking about today?
I'll wait till Jeff sits down, but this is an application that, Jeff, did you actually get this application to your office?
Nope.
It's very odd. I got the application in my office the other day. I mailed it out to you.
Yep.
This is an application from the DEC, they're requesting lead agency for CMA Mine. And as far as, so I had Jeff come to present it to the board because I think it's something, before we respond, we really need to have a discussion on. This is a parcel that's a non-conforming use, basically a sand mine that we said no more, probably what, about 10 years ago? Or more than a decade ago. And it seems like it's an expansion of that.
Yeah, correct.
So I will turn it over to you for,
All right, this is, as Laura mentioned, this is a SECRA referral from Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC, for a sand mine known as CMA Mine. It's Steve Mezaneski. It's at the southwest corner of Osborne and Youngs Avenue.
right,
I prepared for you a December 11th, 2019 staff report, tried to review the documents in as best as I could. I gave you attachment of the actual application. It's very short, it's 1 page long. I love them. And the backup documentation they submitted was lengthy, but they did not give us the complete application. They didn't give us any plans, they didn't give us the appendices, so it's really difficult.
I think they did I think enclosed in one of the things, I think everything was sent over to you. You could,
But if you read
Yes,
it.
but there were no diagrams or
No.
plans
No,
actually annexed.
right, but they said that
So-
they would send everything, whatever, I'm
It-
just
yeah.
for your,
Yep, it says, according to the referral letter, large plans and appendices are also available for viewing at the DEC in Stony Brook. Alternatively, if you wish, I will contact the applicant and ask if they would send a complete application.
You
to
think that was purposeful?
I won't second guess them, but what the information that we received is not the complete application. We don't have plans, we don't have topographic maps, we don't have the appendices of the documents. So for public disclosure, it's difficult to give a full adequate evaluation of it without having all the information in front of us.
So the DEC referred it to us but didn't give us any information.
They gave us the information that I attached to your,
Right.
and
they
then-
gave us the
But as far as the
reclamation
plans and the
permit
expansion
report
area-
Right.
and the assessment report. Those are
Right.
the only two reports that
Right.
which was emailed to everybody.
Right.
But, so,
This is, as I said, this
They're
is,
requesting lead agency.
Right.
That's the most significant
and the one thing.
portion of it right now.
We don't have to make a decision today because we received this on, December 26th, and we have 30 days to which.
I don't believe
December
so,
4th.
yeah, this was December 4th,
I
so.
got, that's the second one, the application we're reviewing, so we have time. And I reviewed this
Except it
briefly with
creeps up
Bob
on
Kozakevich, who's unfortunately away. And the big question that comes to my mind is this subject to the town, chapter 229 of the town code, excavating and grading of the town code. So, he's doing research on that and, researching, case law on it, so we don't have an answer for you on that today, so my recommendation today is, let me give my presentation and then have Bob come back next week and he can further update you on his findings.
Let's go through your presentation, then we can ask our questions, how's
Okay,
that?
very good. So we received the December 4th letter from DEC, 30-day review comment period. If we do not respond within the 30 days, DEC will assume lead agency, and according to the letter, state that we have no comments to offer regarding the proposed action at this
So
time.
that will be January what, 2nd?
Yeah,
Okay, so there is a timeliness to this.
absolutely there is. The subject property is zone agricultural preservation, and obviously sand mines are not permitted in that zone, nor anywhere else in the town.
But this is a non-conforming
That is,
use,
this
okay.
is a pre-existing non-conforming use.
Pre-existing non-conforming, okay.
I'm not gonna go through the whole staff report in its entirety, so what I did was I summarized it beginning on page 2, 17, just my initial preliminary issues and concerns and questions about the application. Is the proposed expansion of the sand mine required to comply with town code? How many cubic yards of material are proposed to be removed? They don't just say that. How many years the mining will take place? They don't just tell us that. How deep is the existing sand mine? How many cubic yards of the existing sand mine are approved under the existing mining permit? How will the proposed 89 feet, they're proposing to go down 89 feet below groundwater table.
Which is at about 17 or 18 feet, so they're
Yeah.
going down 100 feet.
So,
Over 100
how will
feet.
that affect the aquifer and the groundwater quality? How the proposed, expansion increase heavy truck traffic in the area?
What is their reason for wanting to go so deep?
Too much
Sand
material.
pays well.
Or
More material.
Sand's a real
to
commodity.
risk filling it with water?
They don't care if it's filled with water,
No,
they'll
it will.
continue to dredge underneath, they're gonna dredge all the sand, but they're gonna hit
Oh, I
the,
didn't realize they pulled sand out of.
but they're gonna
wet.
hit water as they're going down,
Right.
so then they're gonna continue to mine in the sand.
Right. What would the impacts be to the adjoining residential, communities? As you know, we've got Old Orchard, and a whole bunch of other new subdivisions, being constructed in the area. How does the application comply with our noise ordinance? How much material will be brought to the site? They are bringing, material for access ramps, safety berms, and equipment storage pads. Will there be any processing materials on site? What would be potential impacts to the aquifer and groundwater supply and quality? What would be the potential impacts to the adjacent agricultural and residential uses, water quantity drawdown, saltwater intrusion? The application does propose construction of wetlands, but does not provide a time frame for their completion. The application proposes vegetative buffer around the perimeter of the site, but no landscape plan has been provided. No grading and drainage plans were provided to the town, and no drainage calculations were provided.
This scares the hell out of me.
Can I just tell you right off the bat, this is an increase of a non-conforming use, I mean, I'm leaning towards that we should be lead agency
Yeah.
on this, not the
Definitely.
DEC.
Oh, without a doubt.
So,
Yes.
Without a
so
doubt.
I don't think
I
there's.
think we
if-
all agree.
Wait, that gets down to the end of my report. My recommendation is
Mhm.
that we assume lead agency.
So I don't think
So
there's any,
can I
yeah.
supplement it? I wanna hand everybody 3 documents.
Because any expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming use that exceeds 10% of an expansion requires a public hearing.
But can you
Correct.
even give it an expansion to this non-conforming use, cause it no longer exists as something permitted in town?
Right.
That's.
It's an expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming use. Even if the use doesn't exist anymore, they can still get an expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming
Now,
use.
my,
If
The board
we
agrees.
approve it.
All right, and
my, history with sand mines and other communities is DEC is very protective of them, and they will probably want to assume lead agency themselves, so just.
For this?
For this.
Yeah, that's what they're requesting.
Yeah.
Right? DEC's requesting lead agency on
They-
this.
That's correct.
And it's 30 days for us
Yep.
to request lead agency also.
So my recommendation is that the town board send a response back, include a copy of this report saying that you want to retain lead agency.
And
So
also
I-
including that it's no longer a permitted use in the zoning and it's a pre-expansion and citing the code that says that it requires a public hearing in order to.
well, we certainly don't have any idea of how the DEC would react to this, or how they would.
Anne Marie?
So if I could just supplement it, so you have a copy of my initial email to Jeff and Bob on it. The second page is documents that I really recommend the entire town board, actually review those documents, cause they're really on point of our concerns. The second document is very significant in that at the time we did our landfill reclamation, we were required to monitor the water. And our wells are located we have, our initial wells were located south, and east of the proposed landmine site. And then, at one point in time, DEC had us located north. According to Ken Testa, and I remember being out at the site with him with the DEC quite some time ago, in the mined land reclamation permit report, it talks about the water traveling north of the groundwater divide. The reality is, and the town has documentation, that for that particular site, it's running south and east. So, any potential for contamination as a result of mining is going to affect our wells, and the town may have significant liability regarding contamination of our wells and the requirement to remediate or prove who's responsible for the contamination. Also, if the mining operation, and you will read in the documents when you have time to review, if they do any type of dewatering, because it's proximate to our landfill, any metals and contaminants are almost certainly gonna come up into our wells that we're responsible for. So, you know, Ken issued comments. Ken is very knowledgeable with respect to the landfill and the potential liability effects this is gonna have, and the potential, quote, contamination of our aquifer. I mean, you know, we are a sole source aquifer, and one of the first documents that I ask you to look at is the DEC regulations, wherein, probably more than a decade ago, the DEC recognized the significance of the sole source aquifers and the town's potential desire to prohibit mining because of that unique resource that we have.
This is an incredible depth
Talking
they're
about all
asking.
of these, you know.
This is
Yes.
the deepest.
Right, yeah, I mean, normally
I
you
would
hit the
dismiss this on its
aquifer and
face.
you're done.
I
So-
dismiss it on its face.
So, is the board, I mean, we have till January 2nd, doesn't sound like there's any, question with the board that we wanna request lead agency, so I think we should direct Jeff to go ahead and
Yeah.
issue our recommend, that we would like to
Yeah,
as
To
lead
coordinate a
agency.
response with Anne Marie in the town clerk's
Right,
office.
I would do my opinion is that, that request for lead agency actually identify as concretely and specifically as possible the grounds and the rationale why we're asserting lead agency.
I think we should bring Jeff Seaman in, because he actually was very instrumental in the landfill reclamation and is more familiar with the sand mining and the process. So I think that he should be coming in and giving the reasons why we want lead agency.
Right, and I think
So
Ken
I
think that's a
Testa
good
should,
idea.
and I think Ken Testa should participate, because
Yes,
he's actually
He's
been on
familiar
site
with it.
with the DEC
Am I,
over the issues regarding our wells. But what's really significant is this entire report relies on the fact that the water is traveling north. And if you look at where the groundwater divide, and if you look at the documents I had annexed, it shows you the groundwater divide and where the landfill is located. It's right, quote, just south of the groundwater divide. Ken is telling me our expert engineers
Have it going south.
have it going
South
south
and
and east.
I can tell you, when the landfill got closed and we had to put those 3 monitoring wells, very close proximity to where this is.
Yes.
Two to the south and 1 to the north. That was because they were afraid there might be contaminants down the road from the landfill. Now, what's to say if the DEC, and the DEC required that, and quarterly monitoring, I think, to date, still. So, what's to say that this goes through and they find contaminants in the water, how that's
We're out of
okay with
luck.
us?
Right, and the likelihood, because of the proximity to the landfill, is when you're going to depth below groundwater, and you're gonna read this in the articles, what happens is, you're actually drawing laterally. So everything from our landfill could be drawn in.
Oh.
Next, because the adjacent properties are residential and agricultural, because you're drawing that water in, the agricultural operations that rely on wells, they potentially could be pumping salt water into their fields because that's all they have left.
I think this is a myriad of issues that have serious impacts for us.
Wow, 85 feet just scares the hell
In the
out of me.
town of Riverhead, so I think that, we need to get on this right away. If Jeff Seaman were to do this, Jeff Seaman, we'd have to contract with him separately.
Right.
So I don't know if you wanna draw up the resolution, if the board is okay with that, we'll draw the resolution up, and we can put it in the packet for Tuesday, cause this is pretty timely.
I
Um,
actually think the time frame is scarily
Soon.
30 days is not a lot of time.
And
Well, the
it's
DEC
not, and I say all hands on deck on this.
Well, the
Let's get this
DEC is
done.
requesting lead agency because they received an application, obviously, from the business that's there, is that correct?
Mezineski.
This is the first time I've ever seen.
It's not on their own
DEC
motion, they
ever request-
want this.
What's that?
The DEC didn't make this application.
No, they did not, Steve Mezineski did,
Okay, through them, not through us.
that's correct.
I bet the DEC wouldn't be in favor of this either, I bet you.
Well, don't forget, the DEC is not necessarily against land mining, and you can't really land mine anywhere else on Long
Right.
Island
No, but
anymore.
they
So-
certainly are very cognizant of groundwater and aquifers and
Oh,
otherwise they wouldn't have been so stickler on the landfill.
Aren't they more
Absolutely,
lenient
but.
on sand mining than we are?
I'm not opposed to sand mining, but this.
This is going down, this is probably the deepest
You're
sand
right,
mine
I mean,
I've
sand's a
seen.
commodity and I get it, but it's,
This is going down into.
the reclamation always bothers me too, because, you know, you don't know what they're gonna fill.
Yeah, and we don't have the infrastructure
There's a lot of
in that
questions.
location to handle
The amount of trucks coming in now
the
for,
volume.
Right.
And it's on two town roads.
And they're bringing in material, not just taking out material.
and it's into residential neighborhoods. I mean,
Yeah.
the landscape has changed since they first started mining there, so it certainly is more into residential neighborhoods as
Yeah, no,
opposed
it's
to.
not good.
What are they bringing in,
It's
Jeff?
not good.
They claim gravel for, access roads, they mentioned some sort of a ramp, equipment storage,
Pads and stuff, you said?
pads, yep.
All right, so I think we have the plan on this one, so we'll get a resolution for Jeff, you'll work with him and get a response.
So
Ready
can you
to send
call him
out?
up, cause he's gonna, so I need some parts from him.
Huh?
I was wondering that too.
Trying to look at tax.
We could talk about-
She wants
Yeah,
to
yeah.
tax more sand.
So, and then let's go on to the next
The
one.
next one, yep.
You got two today?
First time ever in my history of planning, we got 2 within a week.
I just heard that, you know, you don't work very well.
And I don't want.
Nothing.
I didn't hear it.
Good.
Okay.
Not another sand mining.
No, this one is actually, a lot more benign. This has to do with, SAS Industries. They're located west of the Epcal Airport on Wading River Manor Road.
Yes.
It is a tiny little parcel out in the middle
Yeah, I
of
was
the
gonna
Corp
say, it's not
preservation
bad.
area. It is tiny.
Yeah, it's on the west side of
Yep.
Wading River Manor Road,
Yep.
yes, I know where it is, yes. A small little building, yeah.
Mhm.
What do they wanna do?
This request came in from the Pine Barrens Commission. They are requesting a hardship application permit from the Pine Barrens Commission, which is kinda odd. Usually you, all the other times I've seen this type of request, is you get a site plan application, special permit application, to which the town would send out the lead agency coordination letters. In this case, we would send it out to the Pine Barrens Commission. The applicant went straight to the Pine Barrens Commission. We do not have an application for a special permit or a site plan. This is located in the,
He came to us many years ago.
In a Tuesday meeting.
Yeah,
Yes, he did.
Like 8 or 9 years ago.
Well, he came to
so-
us within the last, I wanna say 2 years.
Okay, he must have come back then.
And if the property is zoned natural resources protection, which obviously does not allow manufacturing, so this would be considered a pre-existing non-conforming use. It requires special permit from the town board, site plan application to the planning board, and more than likely variances from the zoning board. He has an existing 10,000 square foot building. He's looking to construct a new 6,400 square foot building. This is our
This
really.
is in core?
It's in the core preservation
Oh.
area.
That's probably why he went to the Pine Barrens first, because the
He doesn't wanna do it.
likelihood of him getting that.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly the reason why he doesn't want to do all the engineering plans.
Unless he gets.
And that is the hardest test to get.
I don't think he's gonna have a
He-
really
very-
big, he's not putting it,
He doesn't, and he's gonna remove most of the remaining vegetation on the property, so. Just to give you an example of how difficult it is to get a hardship application, when I was on the Pine Barrens Commission in another jurisdiction, we reviewed a horse barn in the core preservation area. It was an existing horse equestrian facility. They're putting the proposed barn in the parking lot. We approved it at the commission level. It was, Dick Amper sued and won. So, every application has to be reviewed on its own merits, but it is very difficult to get a hardship application. That's probably, I'm guessing, why he went to the commission first, because it's the hardest test.
Did he get it?
well, he's asking.
He has a
they're-
public hearing scheduled in January.
I'd
Yeah.
give them lead agency.
What's that?
Pine Barrens Commission,
You're
I'd
fine
give
with
them
him?
lead agency, absolutely.
Everybody
Yeah,
good with
I
that?
don't have
I
a problem with
agree.
lead agency on
I'd
this.
rather-
I don't
Okay.
care. You can get through the planning commission, just
Okay.
make a nice donation.
Yeah, they should.
Okay, so I'll prepare a response
it's
for your
really-
signature, Laura.
And they're gonna go, you said they're gonna go north of this Butler
Yeah.
building they got now?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, they're clearing trees and everything else.
Yeah.
Sure,
Okay.
Folks there anyway.
They're gonna have a very hard time
I
getting.
think they're gonna have an incredibly hard
Yeah.
time.
Okay, very good. I'll prepare that response, and like I said, this is a lot easier than the prior
Well, you
one.
had two, but they were quick and easy.
Yeah. Great.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Have a nice day, nice knowing you, bye.
Talk to you later.
Love you too, Jim.
Is
The
the,
chief is walking over, I don't know if you wanna start resolutions.
What else you got?
The chief or Mike.
That's it
Richards
today?
with the locker
Bring
room.
mine.
is Michael here?
No,
Okay,
the chief or Mike.
okay.
John,
CMA,
can you
yes,
ask-
yes.
Gone through two things in planning in 30 minutes and about the entire time I've worked here, so.
All right.
John, can you ask Kristen to bring my Surface? If she can find it.
Oh, oops, this was that. What you doing out here?
Get back to your cage.
Oh, the res is not up?
I didn't go through it.
What's not working? Menorah and the.
Are you
river
talking about
front.
for mine?
Yep.
Yeah, because it happens in executive
So
first,
did you just-
before it goes on to Tuesday.
Oh,
Did you just have the parade?
but what? I don't run the parade. I run the bonfire, so I'm gonna be, Bob's not even around to talk about the parade. I just sent out an email to, bid.
Yep, we're gonna move on to resolutions while we wait for everybody.
Press will- they'll tell her.
No, sleepy John, you go to sleep.
She found it.
Talk to Bob and tell him to put it
I
on.
know, I saw that. Thank you, John.
And you,
It's
Reed?
away, right.
Jim, did you make any decision about the bonfire?
Just talked
I
about it.
sent an email, you know what, I think, and.
You wanna just discuss it, so people?
Yeah, the bonfire, this Saturday, it looks like it's gonna be a wash. It's gonna be a rainy
Supposed to be rainy.
day. Sunday is supposed to be a very windy day. So neither day this weekend looks like it's,
Ideal.
For a
ideal
bonfire.
for a
Yeah.
bonfire, especially where we have the bonfire set up now. We're back at the old
Yeah,
spot.
you had to move over, yeah.
And, well, we were able to keep that spot because I guess they're doing some drain laying and stuff for the Georgia benches there, so they haven't quite encroached where we are yet, but they may. It'd be kinda tricky, we might have to
Yeah.
move it in a week, but I think to be safest, just so we have a good holiday bonfire, is to actually postpone it for a week if we could. And I sent an email out to the bid, and I'm checking with Santa Claus, so I have to wait for the North Pole, and the DJs.
It's getting busy towards the end of
DJ.
that week there.
Yeah, I know it's the 21st, but you know what, it's a few hours, you come down and you relax, get away
It's a
from the
great
holiday
time.
buzz.
Yeah.
It really is.
You better shoot a text
And the
to
Lions
Rudolph.
Club.
Yeah, I think that just for all safety purposes, I don't wanna be out in the rain, and I'm afraid being where we are with the apartment building
Mhm.
behind us, although the wind normally comes out of the north, I don't wanna,
Sparks flying around.
I don't want the wind, I really
What
don't.
about the Lions Club? Did you reach out to them to see if they
Well, I
would delay the
haven't,
parade?
I gotta reach out to them, I mean, this is something I thought about this
Yeah.
morning, as I looked at the weather. I knew it was gonna be there, but I wanted to wait till today before making any real decision. No, I have to reach out, I mean, we normally work in conjunction with the
Yeah.
parade, but we can be independent of the parade, so I have to coordinate with them and see if they want to do the parade a week as well.
All right, so stay tuned, we'll know
Yeah,
maybe
we'll
by
know,
the end
yeah,
of the day, and
I'll
then
blast it out to,
contact the
Red
papers,
News
let
Review,
everybody
and
know.
there's another local one, what's the other one? Oh,
Riverhead
Riverhead
Local.
And radios and all that stuff, we'll definitely get the word out if we
And
make a
Newsday.
firm decision.
Okay, alrighty.
Oh, a Newsday,
Newsday's
yes,
here.
yes, my man Newsday. Thanks for quoting William Van Helmont in that article, he was so proud of himself, he highlighted it and sent it to everybody, and look, I'm in the paper,
That was a good.
on the
Yes,
Indian ground there.
Sharpers Hill.
That's it, sharpest stuff.
All right, we are going to move on to resolutions until, so we can do the other things, so if anybody comes in, we'll stop.
It's a long walk, Chief.
First is adopts a local law for amendment to chapter 255 entitled Parades, Assemblies, and Special Events of the Riverhead Town Code. We were posted and published for our public hearing that night, but if, we're hoping that after public comments that we can move on to adopt this so that we don't miss the, December 18th deadline that we had set previously.
Tonight, next?
What was the fee schedule?
The next is, you know what, let me just go back, see if I can do it as a split screen, it's not. Okay, the next is amends resolution, 218-923, which is approved 2019 special events application fee schedule. 3 is adopt a local law entitled local law to change the terms of office for town supervisor from 2 years to 4 years.
Wait,
For-
that's okay, I thought this had to go for a referendum, right?
It would, you have to adopt a local law, and then once you adopt the local law, then it can be put on for a referendum. But you have to adopt it first for it to then be put on there.
Mhm.
It's in the reso.
Yeah,
Explanation.
same thing we did last year.
Yeah.
Or 2
4
years.
is authorize the supervisor to execute an amendment to lease agreement between the Riverhead Water District and the new Singular Wireless PCS LLC. We've talked about that one before. Okay. I'll just do 5 and then we can go to the chief. 5 is authorizes appointment of third-party administration, processing and payment of general liability claims and workers' comp claims and related medical claims for 2020. Chief will have you come up and then,
Of course, there's resolution 10, which sets the salary for the chief of police and authorizes execution of the agreement between the chief. Yay.
hey, John? No, Mike, I think it'll be okay. It looks like I have 51 minutes left. I don't know why it didn't charge.
Good morning.
I don't know if I
Morning.
have
How you doing?
I have another one.
okay.
Like that jacket.
Thank you.
He always wears it.
My office is freezing.
Is
It's good for you to keep you
It
awake.
is, right. They're trying to preserve me.
Yeah, save money for your raise. Alrighty, go ahead, we'll do,
We're all right, we're
monthly
good.
public safety report.
Yes, all's good. You guys have everything?
I do not, we don't have anything, I don't print up because you bring and then,
You sent it
I
to
know,
us.
and we
Yeah.
don't wanna kill more trees, so.
so you know what, next time you send it out, just say, you please
Print your own
request if you need a
copy?
copy. This way everybody will know.
Well, look, show paper on my
Nice tie, huh?
Thank you.
Right,
Oh,
and then I think
Santa,
we just need
very
something
good.
for the,
Yeah, just bring it.
okay.
I can't print out from here, so. Okay. Or it's very difficult to do. You have the, summary.
Yay.
Everything looks to be in order. No major changes from last time.
Calls it down a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, crimes are holding steady, I would say. The non-criminal instances is where you see the big increase. And you really have to factor out the, that overdose, non-fatal, and death investigation overdose, because when you're dealing with small numbers like that, and you see a 200% increase,
Yeah.
it's kind of frightening, but it doesn't really mean, right, that much, so. And plus, the way we counted from 18 to 19 is different, so.
Yeah, I think as the months go on,
It'll-
the numbers will be a little bit more, they'll be easier to look at and have more significance.
For sure.
I know that you guys had the mental health training, do you wanna just explain?
We did, so
what
there's
that
two
was?
types of mental health training, there's a 40-hour class, it's almost a certificate class that they give the officer. We just had actually a meeting with Dash yesterday, Suffolk County Department of Health, and I know they met with you too.
Mhm.
So, they're not recommending that training for all officers, they think only 20% of the force should be certified with the 40-hour course. We do have one officer, which I'm happy to say is certified, and probably the first officer on the East End that's certified with the 40-hour course.
And it's been helping, he's actually gone out
It's
on
been
some
helping,
calls
they
when
say
there's,
it's- yeah.
when it's necessary
I
already.
was pretty impressed with the presentation yesterday, so.
What is that job, is it for like negotiations, that sort?
It's dealing with mental illness, people out there that have mental illness, so.
And also drug
and-
addiction.
Right, alcoholism, all that, it handles everything.
We're gonna
And-
need more police officers trained in that come January 1.
And she says that it's, they're able to actually experience what mental illness is like. They have different kinds of scenarios and different kinds of presentations where the officer can actually see what that person is experiencing, which gives them a good handle on how to deal with them, so. The other one is the 8-hour course, which we just held 3 classes at police headquarters, and it was opened up to all East End agencies, so we had the classroom pretty full each day for the 3 days, and that's 8 hours, and I forget what they call it.
Yeah, it's like mental
Right,
health
something.
initiative training, I
Right.
think, or something.
It's, the other one I think is CIT, and this one is first aid for mental health.
First aid for
Right,
mental.
so, we did that, and, actually, they're gonna have more classes come January, so we'll be able to get more people into that class.
And how'd the officers like it, did they
They-
find it?
Yeah, very well, received by everyone,
Yeah.
all agencies.
And all new officers get it as part of their training at the academy.
Correct.
But it hadn't been part of, training previously,
Right.
so it was really good to be able to get the officers that have been on the force for a while, some additional
Yes.
training on it.
At the academy, they're getting, what'd she say, 3.5 days worth of training.
Training.
So, somewhere between the first aid
Two, yeah.
and the full one, so.
And DSS has been coming out, we're now on their monthly,
Yes, they come
rotation.
out, right, and we take them around with the COPE unit, and they get to interview our homeless that we have, and hopefully get them some services. I was happy to see with the DASH program, that they will they have services to
mobile services also.
hold mobile, right, they have a, response team, and also, but their facility's equipped with a shower and all that stuff, so it's not like CPAP, where it's just clinical and you're being, a hospital
can-
bed and you're seeing a psychiatrist or something like that. It's now this, where you stay with them for 24 hours and they try to help you.
You
and
can do your laundry, you
do
can
your
take a
laundry,
shower,
right,
you can.
build some trust there, hopefully get them into some kind of service program, so.
And then people that go there, if they come back, and then having the DSS come out monthly stays on top of people to
Yeah.
kind of get them more engaged, to be
Right.
able to seek some of the services.
Right.
Because one of the big issues that we have is this sort of with the homeless people in the area, a lack of trust
Right, lack of
for being able to receive some of the services that are out there. So
So-
developing that hopefully will then help
Relationship.
reduce the, those that don't wanna seek
Yeah,
help.
the fear, right, for
Yeah.
sure.
Right, because we get people that refuse help, correct?
Yeah,
All the time.
all the time.
All the time.
How are we doing with taser training for all of the officers?
That's on course, I think we ordered some more tasers, so hopefully, at some point we will have 100%.
And it's in the budget for next year for,
Yeah.
yeah, haha.
Yeah.
It's in the budget to what you requested for
Right.
next year for the taser, so everybody should be
Thank you.
Good.
on
That'd be
par.
good.
Need to ask more females, there's only 25%.
Should be 50.
Should be 50.
So, and then also, as far as I know you've been working with the DA's office with Tim Sini for the discovery, how is
Yes,
that going?
The DA was present yesterday, at the meeting, at the chief's meeting, so, he gave the budget review, the DA's budget review for 2020, and happy to say that it was approved.
Was funded,
so,
all
yeah.
funded.
So, he's gonna have money back for us for East End Drug Task Force reimbursement, and also for East End DWI Task Force initiative, so.
Okay.
That's back.
Any
on
light
its
at
way.
the end of the tunnel for any financing for bail reform?
No.
Computer aided dispatch.
Well,
did
no, they did, I believe that
He got his
he
software.
he has his software, but they
Right.
also, staffed the office, and
Yes, they're
the,
going 24/7 with the ECAP, so that's happening January 1st.
How about Little Old Riverhead?
Yeah, no, nothing coming back our way, or anybody's way.
Nothing
Right.
for the entire East End, and it's really, I mean, I sat with Judge Smith yesterday for a couple of hours, and Chief Hager-Miller and I did meet with, Under Sheriff Keyhouse a few weeks ago, and there's really, we're probably going to have to change our town board meetings till 6 o'clock at night and open this up for a courtroom during the day. And then we're gonna have to talk to the justices about being part-time and working one week and not the other week, but both of them may have to work every week in order to keep up with the caseload.
We were
We have a
talking about
busy
making them
caseload.
6 o'clock anyway, so that
Yeah.
works out.
it's gonna be difficult to see what comes down, it's kind of hard to predict. As I said, I've met with the sheriff, you know, they really can't even predict what their numbers, because they may not be seeing as many
Right.
people.
Their
Well,
population's
the-
increasing already, so.
Well,
Yeah.
the population from the jail from November 18th went from 1,026 prisoners down to like 934 as of 2 days ago, because the judges are not asking people for bail
Correct.
and scheduling them to come back in February, because there's no point. Come January 1, they get the bail money back, and they're supposed to have a court date within 20 days. The biggest problem that I see with the public safety aspect of it is that the people that are just being let out on the street can continue the same crimes up until they have to come back to court. And notification, so when somebody comes in and they don't speak English, how are we notifying them? Because you have to notify them 5 days before they're due back in court, even though.
Text, email, or,
Yeah, but
or
you-
written.
yeah,
Their
but you
choice,
have to-
what's
yeah,
their,
but
what's
you
their
have to-
preference,
I know.
You
so-
have to text, email in their own language, otherwise they can say that or your attempt was not valid and it gets dismissed. So we're gonna have to figure that out too, as well as far as getting somebody 24 hours
That's
to be
actually
able
up
to
to
communicate with
the
them.
court to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, the court has to do it.
Yeah.
So it's, and then you're gonna have to notify them in their own language, otherwise, and
I wanna say.
and if they get a warrant and you go out and you bring them in on the warrant because they didn't show up within 20 days, that's not even considered persistent. It's the third time that you pick them up that's considered persistent unwillingness to appear. And it's really going to be a big burden on our police department, and, you know, and I'm hoping that our police officers are not gonna get so frustrated and having to go back out and pick these guys up on a warrant, bring them in, only to let them go again, because it's not considered persistent unwillingness to appear.
Well, let's hope after they
Well,
get back
let's
into
hope not.
session in January that they reverse this and put it on,
That would be nice.
take a good hard look at what the ramifications
They're not
of
doing
everything are.
I would think after two.
Let's
to
hope
seven,
that
it
happens.
looks-
that
previously.
No, they-
I mean, if you did all this, you should have phased it in over a time
Absolutely,
period,
this
so
is
everyone knows
just-
that.
Shouldn't even exist,
Right, you
period.
shouldn't,
Well, the governor is
even
saying now
exist.
that he didn't even know it was in there.
well, what I say is that
That's
crime
being on
rates are
top of
down,
things.
it's working, why did you try to
Right.
fix it, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense to me,
I think
so.
I think there should be an expedited review for bail, so that if somebody is forced to, instead of just saying no bail, just an expedited review for bail. If a judge sees that there's a need for bail because there's a flight risk or they're not going to reappear based on the history, and the judge says expedited review, it goes to 3 senior judges who decide whether or not this person is gonna get bail or whether they're gonna stay in jail until they can post bail.
Well,
There's
already
gotta be a better way.
There's a mechanism in there for somebody to get bail from the state if they're indigent and they can't get bail. The problem is it's too low. So it doesn't meet the bail. That's really what they should have just done, is raise that level to be able to cover the bail, because that's really where the problem lies. I think it's only a couple hundred, you know,
And if it's a-
dollars that
if
you
it's
could
a
have.
real crime.
If they had raised that level up, I think you would have had the same relief of the situation, but that would have been,
And if it's a real
easy.
crime, like a felony, they can't set bail anyway, they gotta remand.
Right, it's a
Yeah.
violent felony.
This is a New York City problem that they did not take into consideration the smaller police departments and justices throughout the state.
Justice courts and the district courts, right?
but the good news is, I do believe that we are going to have some fund balance left at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That should be able to pay for the CAD. I know
CAD.
it's about $350,000.
Good.
So, you know, the budget, we've been very good with the budget this year, been able to realize some savings. until all the bills come in and everything else will be sometime in February. But the projections are looking like that there will be a couple $1 million almost in fund balance left from, don't get excited, we also have to replace our fund balance. But there looks like that there will be some money in there to slot for the CAD, so that you'll be ready for that for spring. So hopefully the board will, when the numbers come in February, be able to set some of that aside for a capital, this capital project.
That'd be great.
So, and I know you won't forget that since.
I won't, for sure.
Hope you sit on the
So,
bench.
We're on it.
all right, very good.
Okay?
Any other
Thank you,
questions?
Chief. Have a
No?
great
Thank
day.
you.
Happy
Thank you
holidays.
very much.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas.
Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah.
We're, actually, I have the camera guys over in the office right now.
Did
Okay.
cable straighten out with that?
Cable, I think, is on board, not that we're hooked up yet, but I think
'Cause I
they're.
think Dan was working out the
Right.
last details with the cable to
Right.
see what the,
And they know what they need and what they have to do, so
Okay.
hopefully that'll be any day.
so
soon.
they're all,
It does-
they're all up already.
And
It's ju-
recording.
And okay, so it's just not
These are
plugged.
Main
Can't
Street
see it.
cameras?
This
Right.
is the train station, Grangeville Park, all of the cameras, and also people can hook their cameras up into, once it's up and running, maybe.
Into our system.
And so how would they go about doing that? They should,
We'll have some kind of agreement.
Okay.
So, if we don't reach out to them and they reach out to us beforehand, just call my office and we'll.
cause I
set
know a
something
couple
up.
of the apartment buildings downtown also wanted to be able
Right.
to hook up into your cameras
know.
because for the parking lots and things like that, so.
More the merrier.
Yeah,
Perfect.
perfect, very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And no snow emergency this week.
I know.
Rain emergency.
I will,
Rain emergency.
I will not miss your 6 AM, 5 AM phone calls. All right,
Michael's here if you
yep,
want.
Michael, if you'd like to come up, we'll talk about the Calverton Sewer District construction update.
Oh, flows downhill.
John, no Drew
What?
yet?
They're over Wheat Beach.
No, okay,
It's really small for reception.
okay,
Michael? Morning.
good morning.
Let's see, the Calverton Sewer District, starting Monday.
What sewer district? What are you talking about? No.
Calverton Sewer District, the contractor who is installing the force main that leaves the treatment plant and goes up to the recharge beds is going to start work. He's saw cutting this week. They've marked out the
So
path
is that all the way down
of the
Gummer
trail.
Boat? Where does it come down?
It goes down Berman Boulevard to Janway, and we're tying into an existing main that we laid years ago
Okay,
for this future purpose. And then it's gonna continue on from the end of Janway, under the runway, across the meadow, through the woods.
to grandmother's
grandma's
house.
house.
There
We
we
go.
go.
All right.
Under the runway, over the
And then,
meadow,
and then,
under the view.
that's where the recharge beds are gonna be.
Okay.
And they're gonna start at the recharge beds and at the force main, and they're gonna.
So that's
work
kind of right
both
behind
ways.
that's that little plot in the back, the 36 acres or whatever that is?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's behind Sky Materials.
Yeah, okay.
It's up in that quadrant. The area that they're clearing is probably 200 by 200
Okay.
feet.
How long ago did you lay the pipe you were talking about?
That you're tying into.
2005.
Oh, okay, not terribly long.
We planned on doing this a
Gotcha.
long time
Yeah.
ago, so.
Jan Berman's
um,
money, right?
Yes, so well.
Well, most of
being
it's
the-
grant, a lot of it,
Being the trench was open, we threw the pipe in.
Yeah,
Okay, Community Development Agency, because it was part of their project at the time, they paid for the pipe. Contractor was putting sewer down Janway at the time, and, so we said, well, let's just put the pipe in there, so, under this contract, we didn't have to pay.
Pay for that pipe.
And re-excavate and tear everything up. So the thing is that we're gonna start, on the path that it goes from the runway to the recharge beds, it's a 30-foot wide easement. They're, putting in a trench that is 5 feet deep. They're removing 9 trees, okay? Over,
The other
over
places,
1,000 feet.
That's great.
That's pretty good. When you get to the recharge area, it's a little bit more dense, so they're gonna be removing more trees, probably 40 trees.
Oh, good, you got a number now, I didn't know yesterday.
That's 40 trees.
40
Mhm.
trees,
It's a
but they're
guess.
mature
It's a guess.
trees,
They are mature
which
trees,
is-
but the trade-off of this is,
Clean water.
cleaner water going into the ground as opposed to,
Right.
the water going
Get
into
out of
the
ahead with
Peconic
this.
estuary.
Exactly.
And that's the minimum, I mean, they're doing as few trees as possible.
Yes, absolutely. And they're working with us because they're sensitive to the same things that we are. And, you know, they're trying to maneuver and finagle to get around areas and get into areas that are tight without
Taking
removing
anything down.
as many, you know, with removing as little trees as possible.
So just had a question, just 'cause are they working on Berman Boulevard, are they working on the roadway there, or is it off the side of the roadway?
It's in the center of the roadway.
'Cause you know what, just talk to Jeff, because I also think we're supposed to be taking a dedication from that road.
Yes.
From Mechanic, so
Yes.
I don't know when they're opening, is that?
Well, we're taking the dedication right from Berman,
Yeah,
and that is still in the works. Dick Ellis has been in communication with Chris Kent,
okay.
who represents Berman, for the conveyance of the roads.
'Cause their
and given this-
their CO is contingent on that.
Right.
So I'm just kinda curious, timeframe
We
wise.
haven't given
It's
them.
the last lot left in the subdivision, so, and Gio has to be willing to take the roads over, which he hasn't been in the past because there's been puddling by Stony Brook Manufacturing, and they had to lower the drain, and there was other work at the corner of, Jan and Berman that they had to do.
Right.
So-
They've completed all of that work. The last thing that they needed to do was correct some ponding at the intersection of Berman Boulevard and Route 25, which they did.
I guess my question is the length of time, I don't know when their opening is, for some reason I thought they were opening soon, and if the
They
road.
haven't got a letter of connection from us yet.
Okay,
They're not pumping water yet either.
okay,
And
all
they
right,
have
so,
the street
so
signs in
when
also.
does that,
Right.
I'm just curious, so,
It all depends on their schedule.
okay,
But we're moving forward. We're,
Okay.
like I said, we're saw cutting.
okay,
This past week, and we got the okay from Berman to go ahead and do that with the understanding for restoration and everything else. As a
well, that's what I'm saying, I don't want you to
restoration
talk, like, if they
specification.
restore the road and then you go back in
Exact-
and
I
do
know, I
everything,
know.
and
It's
it's
just a-
timing, and, you know,
Exactly, it's
so, and I
timing
don't wanna.
and we're right there,
And we're gonna
pretty
tell
much.
them they can't open because we're doing this, and, you know, why
Right.
make a nice road that we're cutting up? So,
Right.
maybe just talk to Jeff,
Yep.
and just work
Okay.
schedule-wise with that.
Yeah, we're just, they're waiting for them to come over and say, you know, do a final inspection at Wellbridge.
Okay,
And then we'll go over and do a final inspection, issue them their letter of availability. And then that will help them get their CO, or closer to their CO. But again, the rate.
yeah, the road
roads need
is,
to
right,
be
that,
due,
they're,
and that's
they're
part of
contingent
it.
because it's been such
Right.
a, so, like I said, just the timing, maybe, just
Right.
talk to Jeff and see where everything's at.
Right, okay. But I just wanted to give you, you know, heads up on the trees thing.
All right.
It's about, the setback of where we're taking the trees down is probably 200 feet from the bike path, from the walking path. So, you know, again, it's buffered, we're trying to keep things back.
What size
and,
pipe do you
what
put?
we've gotta do. It's a 8-inch pipe. It's gonna be a
And is
force
it-
main.
it's metal?
It's about 1.25 miles run.
Wow.
Is it metal or is it?
No, it's
poly,
a
or-
PVC.
It is?
Yeah, yeah. It's a blue group pressure rated
Okay,
pipe.
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's quite a run, all the way from the
Yeah.
treatment plant to
Quite a
the
flow.
recharge beds.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's
what
gonna
a
take a
difference it'll
long
make,
time.
but it'll make a big difference over there, I mean,
Oh,
for
yeah.
what you have, especially with build out, I mean.
Oh, I
Yep.
can't wait. I mean, 20 years from now, wow, I'm still here. I can't imagine what the Conic's gonna look like. It's gonna be so much better.
We'll see.
Yep.
Time will tell.
That's right.
The other thing I have is a resolution for a change order on the Indigo Hotel extension job that went across Tanger's property. It went from Route 58 across Tanger's property to the back of Tanger's property to service the Indigo Hotel.
Mm.
So this is a contract that was approved and provided.
Right, yeah.
There are there's 3 change orders. One was because there was, they'd abandoned the cesspools in place, so they needed to pump them out. County requires that.
Indigo,
On Tanger's
Tanger.
property.
On Tanger's property.
Right, Indigo's paying for it,
okay,
Texas to
The
service him.
Tanger's tying in.
That's the only way
Right.
they got it,
Yeah,
was
it's
because
part
they
of
were
the
going to be
agreement for the-
eliminating 43,600 gallons a day from Tanger
Mhm.
One.
And Indigo combined.
Right.
The total. So, when they were doing construction, they had to abandon the septic system. They tested it. One of them came up with some contaminants in it, needed to be remediated. There was additional work that needed to be done as far as because of the location of the utilities to where the sewer line was going to go. It was originally marked out that it was farther away. When they excavated, they found that it was a lot
Oh,
closer.
that's nice.
So, I mean, it's a DSCG thing.
Yeah.
So, there was those change orders, and, there was also credits for some testing allowances that weren't done, because we didn't need them to be done.
Okay.
So it is,
Was this put in Minitrack already, or is this?
no, this was a just now thing.
Okay, okay, that's
Okay.
fine. So,
It's kind of
Minute to
time,
minute.
time sensitive type thing.
okay,
So,
Not
the,
bad at all.
the total's about, 13, I'm sorry, it's, $20,606 for the change order.
okay,
For the whole project, it was a, $350,000 project.
okay.
So, certain things you can't see underground.
All right,
Yeah,
so just,
Open them up.
we'll just put that, we'll
It's,
get it in.
it's been
Okay.
forwarded over to,
Okay.
to John.
All right.
To, take care of that.
Perfect. Anything
Thank
else?
you.
Not yet.
No,
Think about it.
alrighty.
It's early.
I know.
Merry Christmas.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
In a few
Happy
minutes, Merry
holidays.
Christmas. You can-
Drew's not gonna make it, so I don't know if you just wanna skip that for another week.
Well, I'll just bring it up and then, all right, John, what happened here? Okay, there we go. So this is, I have the mobile office, update here. We were hoping Drew would be here. When Ernesto was here, they had worked out to put the, mobile office over there for the judges. It's been ongoing for a very, very long time. Then Casone, who were getting the mobile trailer, came out, the other day and met with Drew, and they felt that the location, would be too challenging there, so what they would like to do is now move it to the back of the building. In moving it to the back of the building, you lose about 10 parking spaces.
Oh.
So they want to clear, some of the property over on the north side
Right.
there, grade that and put in the 10 spots there.
Good.
So
Okay.
it's about an additional 20,000,
Done that
we
a long
do
time.
have it, we have it available. Well,
Which is
if,
an
if,
issue with
it-
water on it.
yeah, it was an issue, and then it was too far, it's been going back and forth and back and forth.
Good.
So anyhow, if everybody's okay with all of that, we will continue to proceed forward with that,
Absolutely, has to
and,
be done.
I
Nah.
like it in
Okay.
the back
I
better
vote no.
anyway.
yeah. Okay, then we're gonna have Alan Smith come talk to you.
I think it's a mistake doing anything with that property over there, unless you're just gonna put just a row, like a.
It's a it's a
Yeah.
8 foot head in.
It'll just be probably.
Oh, yeah,
gravel.
yeah, it's just to be, for the 10, you'll just take the
Right.
curb out, cut the curb out, put
Because
the spots
eventually
right in
the
there.
court's getting out of here, you know that way, you know.
Right, no, but you still need, but you can't, we need to put that office somewhere, and we need to have the parking spaces, so, this way it'll be able to accommodate both.
Probably cheaper
Okay.
to lease this property back here,
Which property?
behind us. Short-term lease on that.
That's a
would be
great
cheaper
idea,
than
Jim.
redoing that park lot over there.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Why don't we do that?
To cut through there?
Yeah, they gotta walk through anyway.
There's a fence
But
separating
the
it.
generator's there now.
And their
Can you-
No, no, there's
dumpsters
short-term
back
lease right
there
Yeah,
behind
but
it.
the generator's there
Behind
now,
the-
is there a walk space with the
Behind the
with
liquor store,
gen-
yeah,
Yeah.
if you walk through
Yeah.
Deli all the time.
There's never cars back there.
All right, we'll ask if they will do that,
Might be
then,
cheaper just
that
for
would be
sure.
cheaper, but, so we'll see.
Okay.
Good idea. Okay, so we are now, did up to number 5, we are on number 6 now, which is authorizes supervisor to execute a stipulation with, local 1000, AFS CME, AFL, CIO, Riverhead, New York, local 852. Next is appoint a justice court clerk,
Couple times.
and next is appoint a justice court clerk. And that's part of the reason too, that they need more space to be able to accommodate everybody. 9 is appoints member to the Senior Citizens Advisory Council. 10 is set salaries for the chief of police and authorizes execution of an agreement between the chief of police and the town of Riverhead. 11 is set 2020 salary of town personnel officer. 12 is, reassigns the salary of an account clerk. These are the ones we talked about in exec,
Yes.
a week and a half ago, I think, 2 weeks, or last week. 13 is reassigns the salary of an auto mechanic 4. 14 is reassigns the salary of a planning aide. 15 is reclassifies the title of the senior administrative assistant. 16 is appoints a groundkeeper 1 to the building and grounds division of the town's engineers department. 17 accepts the retirement of a wastewater treatment plant operator 2. 18 is accepts the retirement of an account clerk. 19 is accepts the retirement of a construction equipment operator. 20 is appoint interpreter for police department and justice court, that's increasing another, interpreter that they had requested. 21 reappoints, registrar of vital statistics. 22 is reappoints deputy registrar of vital statistics. 23 is reappoints sub-registrar of vital statistics. 24 is appoints marriage counsel. Appoints marriage officer.
Well, it could be.
One day,
25,
counseling the next.
yep, exactly. 25 is appoint, marriage officer. 26 is agreement to transcription services. 27 is extends the contract with Arthur J. Gallagher and Company for risk management services for the implementation of the insurance program for 2020. 28 is general fund budget transfer. 29 is Riverhead Water District Capital Project new ground storage tank and booster station at Plant 15 budget adjustment. 30 is Police Department budget adjustment. 31 is, oh my gosh, Larry, how many ones do we have for you
He's
today?
not back. Oh, there he is.
Four, I'm gonna say 31, 32, 33,
Oh my
and
God.
34 are resolutions, for different items for Lawrence Levy doing business as On-Site Productions. 35 is resolution to amend resolution number 407 adopted on May 5th, 2009 to reflect the support and consent to substitute East End Disabilities Associates as developmental partner with the County of Suffolk with all such rights to own, lease, or improve property described as Suffolk County Tax Map 600-125-1-5.2, purchased by the County of Suffolk with Greenways funding. That's what they presented last time they were here. 36 is authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with H2M for the schematic design phase for the proposed new Riverhead ambulance building. So this is, we know that the ambulance barn that they're in currently is too small. We have met with Northwell Hospital. They are, have graciously agreed to help participate in raising funding to redo the ambulance barn, and we'll do a capital campaign to help offset some of the costs, as well as some of the costs money that we get from the billing services that they are now doing. So what this is to contract to get the schematic design done for the building. The site location is not determined at this time. It is just to get the building design done so we can figure out what the price is and be able to adjust that moving forward and be able to get moving forward with that.
So it's not redesigning what they have?
No,
Yeah.
it's
No,
a
it would
new
be for a
design
new-
for,
new building.
yeah. And it will be, if necessary, it will be phased in depending on what the design comes up. They'll meet with ambulance, they'll meet with the town, they'll come up with a discussion of what the needs are in the first phase, whether there will be a need for a second phase or not. And really, you know, this is price. I think last time they did it, they had about a $10 million price range for the building, and we know that's not realistic at this point with the finances of the town, and not something that we feel would be supported at this point.
Okay,
So
budget,
trying to
yeah.
come up with something that is doable and reachable within a
And
relatively
still
small time
Still
frame.
get all their equipment under cover,
Absolutely.
because they have ambulances sitting outside in the elements, and it's not good when they've gotta run them because of heat in the summer to keep medications cool inside,
Oh, I get it.
and vice versa,
Yeah.
so,
Certain
Yeah.
town.
yeah.
So this is very exciting.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
so
good.
I'm hoping that they was able to get this done rather quickly and move it forward. 37 is authorize the town clerk to publish and post a
Say it.
bid for
Say it out.
lubricant items. 38 is award of bid
I
for
see.
water
It wouldn't
service
slip out because
materials.
it's lubricant.
Come on, it's jokes, bad jokes.
39 is extend bid contract for water meters and accessory equipment or reasonable equivalent and repair to meter reading equipment for the Riverhead Water District. 49 is authorize the supervisor to execute a change order number 2, installation of water main and appurtenances, Georgica Green, Riverhead Lofts, 221 East Main Street, Riverhead. Next is Riverhead Lofts Water Main Extension Project 60184 budget adjustment.
And then Laura, Dawn is here, just quick, and that other.
Okay.
54 West Main Street.
Just
Yeah.
some food for thought for
they
the
talk-
board as you move forward with the construction downtown. I know that they're doing the water, they're tearing up the parking lots back there. putting everything in, just for future construction down there. I don't know if you guys wanna maybe consider something, or having to be able to provide alternative parking somewhere else, or something, because if that was during the summer, as the downtown gets busier, I think it's gonna be an issue, more so than it is in the middle of winter right now, but, just something for you guys to keep in mind. Dawn, you have something you wanted to present?
I had emailed you all yesterday.
Yeah, something about the old police station.
This is I would have had it on time, but the, person who is requesting it was delayed in getting me the letter that I wanted before. Oh, thank you, sorry. So,
Right, I
this-
saw this.
This is a, 54 West Main is a property that had received grant funding through New York Main Street, program.
Which one is 54 West Main?
High-Tang.
Oh,
Okay.
High-Tang, yeah.
So they had gotten the funding for facade improvement in 2015, they signed an agreement, the agreement required that they do and maintain the property in a certain fashion during a 5-year period, which expires in December of 2020, so, it also required, it's a recorded document, recorded it runs with the land, it requires your consent to the sale, demolition, and other things, and I put those items in the resolution. And if they were to have any violations of that agreement, there's a recapture provision at the 5th year, which we would be in the 5th year now, it would be 20% of the total amount of the loan, or the grant, which was $12,000, so $2,400 would be the most we could recapture if there were any violations. There aren't any current violations. The owner would like to sell it, he's in contract to sell it, they wanted to close at the end of the year. So I said I would ask the board if you would consider doing this early in order to expedite their transfer of title, and that way they could get going on the project quicker. Otherwise, we'll have to wait till the beginning of next year. So, I asked John to give you the resolution, and he did, and so, it's up to you whether you're interested in doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
not a big deal.
I think
Let them
it's,
move on and.
Yeah,
It's
they
not a-
sent the letter, and in the email that I sent you, I sent the letter, their letter request, and I also sent all the contract documents so that you could see, what's there.
so we're just signing off on the sale, that we're okay with the sale
Yep.
moving forward?
And
Okay.
their letter to us said, the buyers say, we read the agreement, we agree with what's in it, we understand that there's a recapture provision provided, and it lasts until next year, so. They've acknowledged that, and that's in writing, you have that letter.
Okay, all right,
All
very
right?
good.
Is Mr. Munzel buying this building?
Pardon me?
Selling it.
John Munzel is buying this building?
No, selling.
Selling.
He owns it.
John.
Oh, I didn't know he
sells
owned it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Okay, yep, very good.
okay,
Thanks, Dawn.
that's everything, thank you. So if, first and second to go into executive session, personnel matters surrounding the hiring of a temporary employee, matters surrounding the hiring of 2 employees, matters surrounding the promoting of an employee, matters regarding change in status of an employee, contractual is discussion regarding hunting license agreements. First and second,
Move.
Yep, second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Whoops, I